There is a specific, nostalgic smell associated with a bakery, the scent of yeast, toasted grain, and warmth. But if you walk down the center aisle of a modern supermarket and pick up a standard loaf of white or whole wheat bread, you're encountering a different kind of magic, a chemical one. You press your thumb into the side of the plastic bag. It's pillowy, soft, and springs back instantly. You check the best before date and realize this loaf is supposedly fresh for the next 3 weeks. In a natural world, bread is a ticking clock. Within 48 hours, a traditional baguette becomes a baton of hard crust. Within 5 days, it's a science experiment for green mold. So, how does the industrial loaf stay soft, moist, and mold-free for nearly a month? The answer lies in a hidden layer of processing aids and conditioners that never appear in a grandmother's recipe. This is the truth about why your bread isn't as fresh as you think. The enzyme illusion, why it never gets stale. To understand why industrial bread stays soft, we have to understand why bread goes hard in the first place. Staling isn't just the bread drying out. It's a process called starch retrogradation. When bread is baked, starch molecules absorb water and soften. As soon as it cools, those molecules begin to recrystallize, pushing the water out and turning the crumb into a rigid structure. Plus one, enter amylases. These are enzymes, specifically maltogenic enzymes, that are added to industrial dough. They act like molecular scissors, snipping the starch chains into shorter pieces so they cannot easily recrystallize. The shock factor. These enzymes are often classified as processing aids, which means in many regions, they don't even have to be listed on the ingredient label. They stay active in the bread long after it leaves the oven, chemically preventing the loaf from ever feeling old, even if the nutritional quality is degrading by the day. 2. The dough conditioner secret, datum, and SSL. If you've ever tried to bake bread at home, you know that dough is temperamental. It needs time to rise, the right temperature, and gentle handling. Industrial factories don't have time for gentle. They need dough that can withstand high-speed machinery and massive temperature fluctuations. To achieve this, manufacturers use dough conditioners like datum, diacetyl tartaric acid esters of monoglycerides, and SSL, sodium stearolactylate. These are emulsifiers that strengthen the gluten network, allowing the dough to hold more air and stay incredibly soft. The reality check. While these additives make the bread feel like a cloud, they also make it much harder for your body to digest. Traditional long fermentation, like sourdough, breaks down gluten and anti-nutrients. Industrial bread uses chemicals to mimic the texture of a long rise in a fraction of the time, leaving your gut to do the heavy lifting that the fermentation should have done. 3. The bleaching agent, azotocarbonamide. Have you ever wondered how white bread gets that startling, snow-white glow? It isn't just the flour. Many commercial breads use azotocarbonamide, ADA, as a whitening agent and dough strengthener. The shock factor. ADA is the same chemical used to increase the elasticity of yoga mats and flip-flops. While the FDA maintains it is safe in small quantities, it is banned in the European Union and Australia because, when baked, it can break down into semicarbazide, a compound linked to tumors in lab animals. If your bread is yoga mat soft, there might be a literal reason for it. 4. Stopping the green, the preservative shield. Natural bread is a feast for mold. To prevent those fuzzy green spots, industrial bread is fortified with calcium propionate. This is an antifungal agent that inhibits the growth of mold and certain bacteria. The hidden cost. While it keeps the bread clean, some studies have suggested that propionates can act as metabolic disruptors. In some children, it has been linked to irritability, restlessness, and sleep disturbance. We are trading the visible inconvenience of mold for an invisible chemical load that our bodies have to filter every single morning at breakfast. The sugar trap. To keep bread moist and to feed the yeast for a rapid, artificial rise, manufacturers dump in surprising amounts of high-fructose corn syrup, HFCS, or sugar. In some popular American brands, a single slice of bread can contain as much sugar as a cookie. This sugar doesn't just add calories, it acts as a humectant, holding onto water to keep the bread from feeling dry. When you eat this bread, your blood sugar spikes, your insulin surges, and an hour later, you're hungry again. It's a cycle designed for consumption, not nutrition. 6. The whole wheat fake out. Don't think you're safe just because you bought the brown loaf. Many wheat or multi-grain breads are simply white bread with caramel color added to give the illusion of health. Manufacturers often use refined wood cellulose, essentially powdered sawdust, to boost the fiber content of these breads without changing the soft texture people crave. If the first ingredient isn't 100% whole grain, you're likely eating dyed white bread with added wood pulp. 7. The hygiene of the Chorleywood process. Most modern bread is made using the Chorleywood bread process, CBP. Developed in the 1960s, this method uses high-speed mixers and intense mechanical energy to force the dough to rise in minutes rather than hours. This process requires high levels of solid fats and chemical oxidizers, like potassium bromate, though this is being phased out due to cancer concerns. The result is a bread that lacks the complex flavor profile of traditional loaves. To compensate, artificial bread flavor is often added back into the mix. 8. How to find real bread. The forever loaf is a triumph of logistics, but a failure of nutrition. If you want bread that is actually fresh, you have to change your criteria. 1. The squeeze test. If you can squish the entire loaf into a ball the size of a lemon, it's full of conditioners. Real bread has structure and a crust that offers resistance. 2. The ingredient count. Real bread needs 4 things: flour, water, salt, and yeast, or a starter. If the list is 20 items long and includes words that end in "ate" or "i'd," it's a chemical product. 3. The expiry date. If the bread is set to expire in 3 weeks, it's not food, it's a preserved commodity. Look for bread that is meant to be eaten within 3 to 5 days. The bottom line. Ultimately, your bread isn't as fresh as you think. It is a complex intersection of industrial chemistry and logistical risk that we often ignore in favor of a quick bite. By staying vigilant about how your food is packaged and processed, you can reclaim control over your health without sacrificing the joy of a simple sandwich. We have been conditioned to believe that soft equals fresh, but in the world of industrial baking, soft often just means chemically stabilized. It's time to stop buying the forever loaf and start looking for bread that actually knows how to age, because if the mold won't eat it, maybe you shouldn't either.